All right, welcome into another edition of the JP Peterson Show. It's a victory Monday for the Buccaneers, sort of. That was a very uneven performance, less than dominating against an Atlanta team that everybody wants to say is really, really good. But when I look at this Atlanta team, it's a one-dimensional team that can't really throw the football that bullied the Buccaneers for much of the second half. The Bucs come out with a 21-15 win. But when you're measuring a team to be a Super Bowl contender, this is not exactly what you're looking for. We're going to rip into this entire 21-15 malaise by the Buccaneers. There were a lot of positives. There were some rookies that stepped up. But for the most part, this is not a championship performance by your Buccaneers. I'll bring in Nick Geddes here from Outsider.com. Nick, I don't know how you saw the game, but from where I was sitting in the press box, even when the Bucs were up 21-0, I'm thinking this is not exactly a dominant performance. But then the second half, it was even more deflating for me. I thought that it was a defense that was worn out. I'm not sure that they're physically ready to go 4 quarters with a team like that. And the offense just capitulated. Just didn't even look like they wanted to play in the second half. And I don't know if that's because of the Todd Bowles' influence on this team, a defensive coach not wanting to take any chances to protect the lead, or it's just an offense that was out of sync in the second half. We didn't get many answers from Tom Brady.
Yeah, I watched the game with a bunch of friends, and the entire time we would just look at each other at random points in the game and be like, what is going on? What's the vibe is so off in this game? And I don't know if it's because they were playing Atlanta and you knew no matter what, Tampa Bay was going to eventually get it done and get the victory. Maybe that was part of it. But at the same time, like you said, even when they're up 21-0, I'm like, man, this is underwhelming. Like this offense still looks pretty stagnant and everything still looks hard. Like having trouble getting like 4th and 1s and 3rd and 1s and, not being able to run the football. There was just so many problems going on the offensive side, not in sync at all, really. It was an odd watch. And like you said, the second half came, and I thought the Bucs on both sides of the ball just folded. They just absolutely folded. I don't know if they just said, all right, we're just gonna, scope through this one, and we're gonna get to next week, whatever. I did not like the effort at all from either side of the ball in the second half, and it's just an underwhelming victory, in my opinion. It's very underwhelming.
Yeah, and I'll say there were, on the positive side, there were some heroes in this game. I thought Leonard Fournette made some huge plays on 3rd down, taking a pass about 4 or 5 yards short of the sticks and mowing over 2 people to get a first down that eventually led to a touchdown. Mike Evans had 4 big catches. Every one of them were huge. One where he catches the back end of the ball, just a phenomenal catch. It takes a big hit. They did the slant for basically that iced the game. The big play down the left sideline, runs a great route. And how about Brady throwing that ball about 40 yards on a line? And I thought Evans actually got in with the pylon, but they get Fournette the touchdown on the next play. And Fournette, the receiving touchdown, the running touchdown, I thought he was an absolute horse in this game. A career-high 10 catches for him. I thought Cade Otton played really, really well. I think he had 6 catches on 7 targets, the rookie tight end. And Brady was going to him in some really key situations, and it looks like he really trusts the young tight end. That's a very good thing. Rashad White, I thought, had some really, really good touches, and he's becoming a really reliable back out of the backfield. But what's really underwhelming to me at this point is, and a lot of people have started to talk about the coaching staff, and I thought, when that second half, when you go up 21-0, I get it. This is the NFL. You're not going to take a whole lot of chances. But when the Bucs went up tempo with their offense, they were unstoppable. And they just went back into the huddle. First down run. I mean, just so predictable in the second half. Russell Gage dropped a couple of passes that were key. Right out of the box, Kyle Rudolph drops a pass. These are things that just can't happen if you're a Super Bowl caliber team. Defensively, when Vita Vea is not in the game, you can run on the Bucs at will. 45 is, I hate to say it, is just awful. Devin White is making so many. First of all, he may be the easiest linebacker to block. I mean, we love Devin. We love his personality. We love the energy he brings to this team. but everybody on film is looking at that guy and going, he's the easiest linebacker to block in this league. A lot of the runs, I think, were on his watch. Their run defense is extremely suspect now. You look the past couple of years with Ndamukong Suh and Vita Vea in there, you could not run on the Bucs. Now you got Vita Vea, who's playing about, 60, 70% of the time. And when he's out, you can run on the Bucs at will. The Falcons' offensive line bullied the Bucs most of the game, even though the Bucs had 5 sacks. Look, Marcus Mariota can't throw the football. He throws the football like a high school. I've seen high school guys throw the ball better than him. It's, he made a couple of nice throws in the game, no question about it. But for the most part, this is a one-dimensional offense. And they just basically in the second half ran it at will. And it really, let's be honest, without the roughing the passer call, and listen, we can bellyache about the pass interference call on Scotty Miller the play before. That you know what? That's a 50-50 call in this league. That roughing the passer call was the biggest BS call in the history of the league. And it happened at such a critical time. Jerome Boger throws that flag because he thinks, Brady's head didn't even hit the turf. His head never hit the turf. That was just great, as Daryl Johnston called it on the air. That was just Grady Johnson rolling over him. It's a terrible call, and it almost decided the game. The Falcons would have had 4 minutes and 4 downs. Don't forget, 4 downs to march down the field. Yeah. You can't tell me they're not going to get a first down running the ball 4 times against this defense. They would have. That defense was gassed. The defense was injured, and I'm telling you, if the Falcons get the ball, they're taking it down the field, and we're sitting here talking about a Bucs loss.
And that's why it's hard to really come on here in the show today and be, really upbeat and positive over a victory. I see a lot of people that keep saying, "Oh, well, a win's a win. You're not going to apologize for a win." Listen, I get that, but listen, we're past that. Okay, yeah. I'm out of the mentality of pre-2020. I've seen this team win a Super Bowl. I've seen this team play to its potential, and we'd be lying to ourselves if we said that this was an adequate performance against, I'm just going to call it a crappy team. I don't care if they were 2-2 coming in. There was nothing in there that was impressive. And I know they're working without Pitts and they're working without Patterson.
Well, that's part of, think about that. If they had
that makes it even worse, honestly.
300.
Yeah, that makes it even worse. The Bucs didn't even cover. They didn't even cover. They were 9-point favorite and you win by 6, and it goes down to the wire there. And the call that you said, man, this is my problem with the NFL right here, real quick. It's like everybody's going to react to the Tua injury, and we talked about it, how awful it was. But, they made the new protocols the day prior, right? Yeah. This whole ataxia thing. And Teddy Bridgewater, I don't know if you saw, first play of the game in Miami, he gets hit. And because of the new rule, he has to leave the game and go into protocol. He passes the protocol, no concussion symptoms, but because the spotter thought he saw Teddy Bridgewater stumble, he can't come back into the game, and now he's in concussion protocol, can't return, does the 5 steps. And then you see what happens with Brady here. His helmet maybe grazes the ground. Now we're going to start. Yeah, it didn't even hit the ground. You watched the tape after. This is to me, this is just the NFL. Jerome Boger denied this. It had nothing to do with that. BS. Of course it did. We saw it all across the league. If this is how they're gonna. I feel bad for defensive linemen basically and linebackers that have to deal with this. That was just an awful call. You cannot make that call in that moment. It's one of the worst calls I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's in that moment. That's the key phrase. And when you're making calls, I understand that you want to put an emphasis on, you don't want to sling the quarterback to the ground. I get it. But you also have to be cognizant of where you are in a game and what that play means in the game. And it's such a ticky-tack call. It's such a ridiculous call. And Bucs fans, if you put yourself in the Falcons' shoes right now,
you're sick to your stomach, man.
You're sick to your stomach. You really are. As hard as that underman team played yesterday, they deserve better. And that's why, I'm with you on this. So a win's a win. You're 3-2. You're leading the division. Bullshit. This is supposed to be a Super Bowl caliber team. And you have a 21-0 lead, and you can't step on the neck of a one-dimensional team that was also injured, lost its middle linebacker. They came so close Taylor Anderson almost blocked that punt from Kamara late in the game. I mean, they had so many chances. The holding penalty on the drive earlier on, where they called holding on, I think it was Terrell on Mike Evans, which was another complete BS call that gave the Bucs a first down. I mean, if you're the Falcons right now, you're like, man, that was a complete rip job by the officials. And if you're a Buccaneers fan, if you're satisfied with this kind of win over a below average Falcons team, and people are going to say, oh, they're better, and this is the best Falcons team. I think Gerald Johnson said that 3 or 4 times that the Bucs said that. Look, I don't see it. They can't, and without Cordero Patterson and Kyle Pitts, are you kidding me? They had 3 or 4 guys injured on defense, and this is supposed to be a Super Bowl caliber team. I don't see it. 3 straight 3-and-outs by the offense in the second half. It was almost like and they're huddling up. There's no energy on offense. It's offensive line that can't run the football, especially on the left side. I mean, if you can't run the football and you can't stop the run, I'm sorry. You are not a championship team. You're not, even with Tom Brady.
You have to take the word Super Bowl away from the Bucs right now. You're not even in that stratosphere. And you took the words right out of my mouth too about stomp on their neck. And I was going to say that actually, because I'll give you an example. You know, a team that went against a team that they had an advantage over every facet yesterday, it was Buffalo and Pittsburgh. Okay. Buffalo stomped on their neck like they should. Yep. Okay. They got up early and they didn't stop. They just kept on scoring and imposing their will. The Bucs have not done that in any game they have played in yet.
And they had control of the Dallas game, but they don't stop. And you know what? I think this is the Todd Bowles mentality. I've seen it with defensive coaches. This is what defensive coaches do. They get a 3-score lead and they're like, shut it down. We're good. We got a good defense here. We'll just don't, if we don't make any mistakes, if we don't throw any interceptions, if we don't put the ball in danger, then we're good to go and we'll win the game. And that's not how you win Super Bowls. You got to have an offense, just like you said. You got to have the Buffalo mentality where you keep scoring and you keep scoring. And because it almost came back to bite the Bucs in the ass. And I asked Brady after the game about the second half offense, and he was very like, I'm like, what was the difference between the first and the second? He's like, oh, we got 3-and-outs. I'm like, okay, why? Just don't say what 3-and-outs. Why? Well, we didn't execute. I think, frankly, he's pissed too. I think he's pissed. There was when they were down on the 3-yard line, and the suck up came out to kick the field goal. That whole confusion. Yeah. And then suck up's running off the field. You could hear Brady over the mic say, we're at the effing 4-yard line. He wanted to score. And I'm not saying that would have been the best call in that situation, because, by the way, and look at the calls they ran down there. Their first and goal, a tight end screen to Cade Otton. What? Rudolph misses his block. Then they run a screen to Godwin, where Rudolph and Otton are the blockers on that side, and they're even outmanned by the defense 4-3, and they're still running that stupid play. And now you're first and goal from the 9-yard line. They run the in route to Scotty Miller, and Brady was like, "Let's go for it. Let's put it in the end zone." And no, we're going to kick the field goal. It's a defensive coach's mentality. And I don't think it jives with this offense. This offense has to be explosive. They have to throw it down the field. Yes, they threw it 52 times today. I get it. But in the second half, they shut it down. And it almost came back to bite them in the ass. And I don't think you're a championship quality team if you can't stop the run and your offense is middling at best. I just don't see it. Look where their numbers are right now.
It's what I said. They're just nothing but, to me, they're just wasted potential. They just, for whatever reason, they refuse to play up to their potential. And it starts with the coaching staff. It starts with the play calling. It starts with the execution. And the offense, we already talked about it a little bit, but like Gedeke, he's clearly a problem. First play of the game, he set a tone in a negative way. It was right off the screen. He got blown up by Grady Jarrett. Yeah. And you just kind of have that pit in your stomach, like, oh, it's going to be one of those days. And listen, I know he's going up against elite competition, but my God, it's just not working right now. And does Brady look like he's like really like into it. It just looks like he's always just kind of like going through the motions out there. And I think there is a lot of frustration because it's not going right and they have the pieces. And, Julio didn't play again today. Shocker, right?
Yeah,
and
but they had Godwin, they had Evans, and they had Russell Gage. And,
Scotty Miller had more of a cameo this week.
Yeah, and those guys played well. I think in the second half, they just decided to shut it down for whatever.
Chris Godwin, this is a travesty. Chris Godwin, I think, got one target or so in the second half. He had one catch. I know that. It's crazy. Why are we shutting it down?
Well, we had 3 3-and-outs in a row. Couple of drop passes, a couple of miscues on the offensive line, pressures. It's just not clicking right now as it really, really should. And the other thing about Bowles, first quarter, they get to 4th and inches. First of all, you got to challenge the K. Dotton spot. You got to challenge that. His entire torso is over the yard marker at one point of that play. And you don't challenge that one because you're going to go for it on 4th and inches. 4th and inches, you've got 3 defensive linemen, 1 head up on the center and 2 over the outsides of the guards. The A and B gaps are open. That's a Tom Brady 99% sneak right there. Why is he turning around and handing the ball off?
Can we do a thorough investigation to why we're not doing Tom Brady quarterback sneaks anymore?
That's what I'm saying.
He's the greatest quarterback sneaker in the world ever, and we don't do it anymore.
Yeah,
we don't do it. We'd rather turn around and give it to one of the slowest running backs in the world in that situation. Leonard Fournette cannot pick up those short yards. He for whatever reason, he just does not hit that hole. That hole was there. He didn't hit it.
He missed the hole. The hole was to the right. He didn't see it. And he ran very high, and he kind of tiptoed into it.
He just
tiptoed. As bad as he is, he's a bad mother when he's out in the open field. He's trucking people, but he's not a great short yardage back. Rachaad White appears to be a better short yardage back. He tends to see the holes better, and he picks it. But regardless, and you got to challenge that spot as well. Todd Bowles, what are you doing? You could have challenged both of those. And I know challenge spots are hard to get. I get that. But both of those were so freaking obvious that you would have won those challenges.
Yeah.
And then you got a quarterback sneak in that play. This was the first game where I really, really questioned Todd Bowles' management of the game. I thought it was terrible. And the Bucs, I'm telling you, the Bucs were lucky to win this game. They were lucky to. There were 2 or 3 instances where Brady should have thrown picks late in the game. The linebacker, I forget his name, 54. When Evans was crossing over the middle, and Brady misread the coverage, which is something he rarely does. Again, to your point, was Brady's head really in the game? There were 2 or 3 times where he just completely misread the coverage.
The first possession of the game, he threw one into Terrell's chest, if you recall as well.
Yeah. I mean, they were very lucky. He was lucky not to have 2 or 3 picks today. And the Bucs were lucky to win the game. Anybody who's sitting there thinking, "Oh, we had this game and they made a nice comeback, but they were never going to win," complete BS. Complete BS. The Bucs, frankly, should have lost this game. They should have lost this game in a 21-0 lead. And imagine the narrative today if that were the case. And that's the way I'm going to treat it. I'm going to treat it like this was a loss, because when you have a team like you've lost 2 in a row at home, and you come out and you give that kind of effort. And in the second half against the team that's completely overmatched, that's just not championship football. If you want to be a 9-win team and sneak into the playoffs and get bounced, okay, that's fine. That's what you look like. You're in a crappy division. You're 3-2. You've lost. You're 1-2 at home. It's not good football. It hasn't been good football all year long. I've been waiting to see. They had some injuries. There were some factors, no doubt about it. But 5 games in, we're starting to see who you are. And you're soft against the run. Your offense is average at best. And it looks like you have very little intensity or fire in your play. And, for me, that's just average. This is an average football team that has the potential to be really, really good, but it's not.
Yeah, I think a problem. I don't see an explosive football team. I just don't get that from this team. There's not a lot of explosive plays, really. I mean, I know Mike Evans was able to make a play on his own there, but the deep ball has been like Brady is underthrowing deep balls like He had Scotty Miller.
Again.
He had Scotty Miller like 3 or 4 times, I think, in this game. And there was 2 of them. I think that he really didn't even have Scotty open. He just threw it anyway. But there was another one where I think it was the play prior, which everybody has a whole gripe about. It was 50-50, whatever. Scotty, the reason why that looked so bad is because the ball was underthrown and Scotty had to kind of stop. And there was one earlier in the game. So I think that's a problem with this offense. The explosive plays are just not there like they were the last 2 years. And I think it's making it much more difficult to get things done. And then defensively, I mean, the Bucs have allowed over 500 yards rushing through 5 games.
Yeah.
Over 500 yards rushing.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is. I know Casey Rogers, I think he said, it's an easy fix. And I'm like, can we let the players know that it's an easy fix? Because this is a reoccurring theme now. Yep. And if you can't stop the run, we've already seen this defense when it gets when they get better quarterback play, because today they could have had their way with this quarterback no matter what. But when you get better quarterback play, a la Patrick Mahomes, we've already seen this secondary and this linebacking core, they can be for the taking. So if you're not stopping the run, what is this defense?
Yeah, it's not good. And today CD3 went down. Mike Edwards, CD3 with a hip injury. Mike Edwards with an arm injury. Sean Murphy-Bunting finally gets some playing time, and he's injured again. So they've got some issues in the secondary now. Who are their dominant players? Who are their game changers? Mike Evans, yes. Chris Godwin, he's not there yet. He's like you said, he doesn't have the explosion that we've seen from him in the past. Obviously, coming off an ACL, that's going to take some time. Julio Jones is completely MIA again. Russell Gage, completely unimpressed with Russell Gage.
Nope.
Completely unimpressed.
There's nothing there.
A $10 million receiver?
No.
Really?
No.
Really? The guy's two critical drops today. Not getting open, not doing anything special whatsoever. Don't see it. Kyle Rudolph, complete whiff. Missed 2 blocks today, dropped the pass. It's becoming increasingly evident that this is a very average football team.
It's the Mike Evans and Chris Godwin show.
Yeah.
It's like we're back to that. We've talked about it going into this week. What is the receiving core? It's right back to that. It's the Chris, and that's not where they wanted to be. That's not where they wanted to be. They invested a lot of money. I told you they've invested over $40 million in new weapons this offseason. Yeah. And what's different? What's different? Leonard Fournette led them.
He's carrying this team. He is carrying this team.
Yeah, he led them in catches today. I think he had 10 catches, right?
The career high 10 catches for 83 yards.
Yeah. I mean, we'll take it. But in an ideal world, I shouldn't have Leonard Fournette getting 10 catches and carrying this offense from a passing game category. I mean, again, it's almost like we're talking like the Bucs lost. But I mean, just if you watch the game, I think you just have to be real with yourself. I mean, it's just not good enough.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it. I mean, if there's anybody in that locker room that's satisfied with that performance,
we'll get out of there. We'll get to the sound a little bit, but I mean, I don't know if you heard what Devin White said. We've got to play that later because he said what the mindset was, at least of the defense, and a shocking statement in my opinion. Yeah.
All right, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, we'll hear Gene Deckerhoff call a Leonard Fournette touchdown. We're going to hear from Tom Brady, who I think you can get his he was very, very short today with the media, very curt. He's not, at least that's a good thing. He's not happy with this. So we'll hear from that as well. We're brought to you by Emerging Investigations, emerginginv.com, Tampa Bay's #1 private investigation agency. If you're having issues with your spouse or if you suspect some insurance fraud, if you're in that business, if you're an attorney and you need some PI work, they are the best in the business. You can reach them at emerginginv.com. Also brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES, thejeeveslawgroup.com. As the Gators get a big win this weekend, they get their first SEC win. They are the sponsors of our Gator Report every Thursday, so our thanks to the Jeeves Law Group as well. Quick break. We will be back. We'll hear from Tom Brady, and we'll break down this offense a little bit more. Stay with us.
Attention. If you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, No mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately, or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Military veterans, are you struggling with alcoholism or substance abuse? Is it taking a toll on your relationships and your work life? Are you having trouble focusing, constantly anxious? Well, you may not be surprised to know that your fellow military vets have your six. Heroes Mile is a new concept in rehabilitation clinics, veterans helping veterans. At Heroes Mile, we staff our rehab center with fellow veterans who can understand what you're going through. Our mission is to help you heal from issues that only your fellow veterans can truly understand. Located just outside of DeLand, we offer a full range of inpatient and outpatient programs dealing with substance abuse, post-traumatic stress, and military sexual trauma. We choose to serve veterans because we know how complex these issues are. You could choose to fight the battle alone or win the war together. We are the community care provider with the VA and also accept most major insurance. At Heroes Mile Rehabilitation Center, we have your six. Go to heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. That's heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2.
And welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. The Bucs get the win over the Falcons, 21-15, but a non-inspiring performance in my estimation. And the Bucs are going to have to play way better than that to make a deep run into the playoffs. Nick Geddes joining me here as well. As promised, we're going to get to the Tom Brady interview, but first, a homage to the great Gene Deckerhoff, who is in his last year, maybe his last year, calling a Buccaneers game, and an homage to Leonard Fournette, who was a warrior again. Where would this team be without Leonard Fournette this year? Are you kidding me? Good thing they brought him back. He was the only one to score touchdowns in today's game, and here's one of them, as called on the Buccaneers radio network.
Bucs trying to get the first score of the game. Under center, Brady feeds the ball to Fournette. Slashes his way off right guard. There you go. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Fire the cannons.
Now, this is just what they traded, or they moved Otten over to the right side to get 3 extra blockers, and then they just push straight ahead. Fournette, a little better sense of urgency on the touchdown than the 4th and 1.
I tell you what, it's very obvious when you look at the tape that this team can run on the right side behind Wirfs and Shaq Mason. By the way, Shaq Mason, that little, he's kind of a little spark plug. He's only about 6'1". And he's got a belly. Well, I'll tell you what, that dude moves people. He moves people, and he played well today. He and Tristan Wirfs, and yeah, Brady had to move Cade Otten over to the right side. he lined up on the wrong side, or it was a reset. So they had two tight ends to the right side. They caved it down. Fournette gets it in, and the Bucs get a touchdown in the run game right there. But again, the rushing game, I was trying to see the numbers. I'll find them for you after we listen to Brady. But the running game, unimpressive once again against a team that I think is 26th in total defense. The Falcons coming into this game 26th in total defense.
I got the numbers for you, and they're worse than I thought, honestly. 23 carries for 69 yards, which comes out to 3 a carry.
That's awful against the 26th best defense in football. And I think their runs defense is in the low 20s as well. I mean, that's just piss poor. This is not a championship team right now. They may get there, they may round into one, but at this point, no. I mean, I look around the NFC. The Packers get beat by the Giants, who are now 4-1. What the hell's going on with the Giants? The Rams, again, unimpressive. The Cowboys suddenly look like one of the better teams. But
the Eagles are 5-0.
Yep. The Eagles. The
Niners look a lot better with Jimmy G.
They do. But again, I think the NFC is still there for the taking. But the Bucs just have to play better. I think they have the pieces. I mean, if I could say one thing on the positive, I still think they have the pieces. I can envision this offense throwing for 350 every week and running for another, 120, 150. But you've got to complement it. I just don't think do you see the fire in this team? I don't see any fire in this team. It looks like a bunch of guys that are just going out and just punching the clock. I don't see any emotion outside of Leonard Fournette. I don't see any of it. And I don't, and maybe they're following their leader, because Brady isn't as, he got a little red ass a couple times today, but for the most part, I want to see him throwing tablets. I want to see him getting in people's faces. I haven't seen any of that this year. So,
I mean, like I said, I was in a room full of friends, and there were some of them that even said, like, does Brady look like he's enjoying this at the moment?
No, he's not.
And I'm like, no, he really doesn't. And then, like, you see him in, like, the press conference, and he just kind of looks – I mean, everybody's been talking about his appearance at this press conferences, and I've really stayed away from it, whatever. But, I mean – yeah, I mean, I guess because when things aren't going right, you start analyzing more and nitpicking these things. And I mean, I think it's a valid thing. Like you said, there's just no juice there, man. There's no juice. Like, just what's the mentality here? What is the mentality? And that's what I'm trying to figure out. And like, one of the things we didn't really talk about much, and we didn't really need to, but I found it interesting, is like Cole Beasley, like, retires, right? And 2 weeks ago, he was in Tom Brady's DMs.
Right.
And I wonder what's really going on there, because it doesn't make any sense. And I'm just like, some of these vets, they get into these places and they're just like, all right, I'm here. I'm the one last ride. I'm just going to hang on. And I heard some people saying, like, well, Cole Beasley found out that this team wasn't going to milk it or whatever. And he's like, I'm not here for this. I'm leaving. And I'm just like, well, if that theory's true, why is that not translating to the field? If the theory is that in practice, it's really hard-nosed and these guys want to win and they don't have time for people that aren't ready to do that, why is it not translating on the field? Because I don't see much juice at anybody, like you said.
Well, I've heard this from a lot of people. It's, that they take on the personality of their head coach. I don't know. I've said this many times. In the NFL, I don't think that should be a thing. I really don't. Your leaders should be the players on the field. They should be leading. But, think about it. Levante David is 33 years old. He's on the downside of his career. He's not playing the way Levante David has played in the past. I'm not saying he's playing poorly, but it's not we haven't seen the game-changing plays from Levante David, right? Devin White is supposed to be your leader. You can't be a leader when you're not playing well. And everybody knows it on that defense. I mean, the fans may see a guy that leads the team in tackles, but the coaches and the players know differently. He doesn't fight through blocks. He does. I mean, just fundamentally, He's not knocking people over and fighting through blocks. He runs around it or gets driven down the field 10 yards. He's just and when he makes tackles, it's because the defensive linemen are keeping the linemen off him. Because if the linemen get even anywhere near him, he's blocked out of the play. That's not great linebacking. It's not great linebacking at all. You either have to shoot the gap and get there before the lineman does, or you have to take on that lineman and shell him and get to the ball carrier. He does neither of those things right now. So who is your emotional leader on defense right now? Vita Vea? He's not that guy. He's Vita Vea's he's Samoan. He's chill.
Is Winfield the guy? Or does he
who used to be the guy that held everybody accountable? JPP. JPP was a voice that would hold everybody accountable. And, where is that leadership on defense right now?
We talked about this a little bit in the offseason. Like, we could say that, JPP doesn't have it anymore and Ndamukong Suh doesn't have it anymore. Well, you know what? Those are two guys who have played in a lot of big games in their career. Yeah. And no, maybe they're not going to be in the Hall of Fame, but they've had some pretty Sue, but they've had some pretty damn good careers, the both of them. And there's a lot of experience there and a lot of intangibles and all those good things. And now the Bucs roster is younger on that defensive side of the ball. And a lot of these guys are in their third year, fourth year. So the leaders have to come through. I mean, I just threw Antoine Winfield's name out there. I don't know if he's that guy necessarily.
He's got to be the guy.
That's going to be vocal. But honestly, if you're looking for playmakers, I think he's the best player on this defense right now. And I don't even think it's close.
I would agree.
I don't even think it's close. So maybe he needs to become that guy. Logan Ryan, I thought, was your leader. But, of course, he's injured at the moment.
Missed him today.
You missed him today. You missed him against Kansas City. So,
yeah. All right. Well, let's listen to Tom Brady. For those of you who are watching, you'll be able to see it. And, I was there front row for this press conference. He walked in early while Bowles was still talking. And he was just, I'm getting out of here as quick as I freaking can. And I'm not giving you anything. Tune into my podcast, my well-sponsored podcast tomorrow if you want to hear anything of any note. So we'll play it and then we'll break it down.
Tom, the one sack at the end of the game, they call him for roughing the passer, so it extends the drive. You're able to get off the field. What did you think of that play? Had you been lobbying or asking for some late hits there?
I don't throw the flags.
I don't throw the flag.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. Works hard in practice. Football means a lot to him. So he's off to a good start in a career. He's hardworking kid, so shows up every day, tries to do the right thing, is really prepared. So we all have a lot of confidence in him, especially with Cam going out.
You guys went up tempo in the first half, got a couple of good drives going. Didn't really see much of that in the second half, just because you have a lead. But what was the difference between the first and second half offense?
I think we just had a lot of 3 and outs. So, yeah, we just weren't very good. So bad execution and just wasn't our best in the second half. So got to learn from it and try to get better.
Tom, can you talk about Leonard Fournette and what he did today on both receiving and rushing the football for you guys?
Did a great job. Yeah, absolutely great job. Was super focused and into it. Big, powerful, strong guy. Obviously, when he gets ahead of steam, he's tough to take down and catches the ball well. And, love his effort out there. Love his leadership.
Tom, how's the shoulder feel after this game?
Great.
After 2 losses, to be able to get back into the win column, just what's it mean? And for you guys to get your first win at home in the season too.
Yeah, it's obviously tough to lose 2 straight at home. I mean, but we didn't deserve it. And that's football. You got to earn it. And there's no easy games. You got to play good. And certainly 5 games in, we got a lot of work to do. We're not nearly at the point where we're capable of being, and need a lot of people to step up. And we got to get people out there playing healthy, consistently. Guys got to. We got to keep practicing and get together and make the corrections and try to continue to improve.
It seemed like Mike Evans came down with big catches again today. How key was he?
Yeah, Mike did a great job. He always does. He's one of our most consistent, dependable players. Just a great player.
Targeted Cade and Rashad quite a bit today. Your thoughts on those 2 guys, how they're evolving?
Yeah, we just got to keep doing it. Who's ever open is going to get it. At the end of the day, I'm trying to find the open guy. And, we got to keep finding ways to find holes in the defense to, make the plays we need to make.
Tom, there was a point with 1:20 left in the second quarter, 4th down and 3. You hurried up to the line of scrimmage to try to get the ball off. You're a little bit frustrated.
with officiating, and Suffolk came on, knocked down the 21-yard field goal. What was the situation there in which you were a little bit frustrated that you couldn't get the snap off?
I don't know. I wasn't sure the substitution rule at that point, so I was just asking about that.
With you guys making the defense making a play just before halftime, and the field goal was missed by the Falcons, and then for you guys to come back and be able to get a field goal. Just what can you say about the defense and getting you guys the ball back there?
It was great. It was a great play. It could be whatever 10-3 at half ends up being 13-0. So that was a big kind of 6-point swing right there. They miss one, we make one. Backs made a few plays on those catches, and it was great. So.
Is that it? That's it. That was it from Tom Brady. Yeah. I mean, he didn't want to go into anything about the offense. I think he was very disappointed in the way they played in the second half. I think he's pissed about all these drop passes that are costing them first downs time and time again. If you have a passing offense and you're dropping, a large percentage, well, I shouldn't say a large percent, but you're getting key drops. It's hard to keep the first downs going. If you're inconsistent running the football, you can't have drops in these situations. And also, like I said, I think Brady misread the field 2 or 3 times. The throw he makes to Scotty Miller just before that 4th and 3 that he wanted to go for. Russell Gage was coming open in the back of the end zone. So he's missed a couple. Even Brady misses reads every now and then, obviously. But I think this year he's missed more than I've seen him ever miss. You mentioned the underthrows on the deep balls, which has always been a great calling card of his. And how much more explosive would this offense look if he was completing these deep balls to Scotty Miller, who's their deep threat, right? They need that big time to open up, the middle and underneath. So I think, there's room for improvement here offensively, obviously. But do they need to make a change at left guard?
With what?
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost comical at this point. I don't know. You have what you have at this point, especially on the offensive line. There's guys out there if you want to get crazy with the weapons. There's always going to be those guys out there, defensive veterans. There's just not good offensive linemen out there, and you just have to deal with these growing pains, no matter what they are. But I've defended Brady's play through the first 4 games because there have been people that have been kind of snickering out there about, oh, well, he's not playing that well, and we're seeing a gradual decline. I didn't see that through the first 4 games. But in this game, the easiest opponent that they've played so far, I thought this was by far his worst game of the season. It doesn't matter that he threw for 300 yards, that he completed 35 passes. If you watch the game, the throws that he missed, the interceptions that he should have thrown in this game, and the lack of finding anything in the second half, any sort of rhythm, I thought this was his worst game. So today, I don't think he was part of the problem in the last 2 games. I think he was – I could find other things that went wrong in this game for the Bucs, but certainly if the offense doesn't score a single point in the second half or whatever it was, that falls on Brady. So ultimately.
Listen, his greatness, the reason he's been so good over the years is the details, right? It's, being able to stick a ball in there in this, in this window, this 1 square foot window, and knowing exactly where your receiver is going to be at that particular time. It's that chemistry with guys when he's working day in and day out with these guys. How many reps is he getting during the week with Russell Gage? How many is he getting with Julio Jones? How many is he getting with Mike Evans? How many is he getting with Chris Godwin? I mean, if he's not practicing, they're not practicing half the time. And this is what you get during the week. And I think until they start getting everybody together and on the same page on a weekly basis and being able to practice together, this offense is going to look off. It's going to look off. And that they need that practice time. They need that chemistry working together, and they don't have it. And if Brady's going to be taking Wednesdays off, which I think he's kind of, he's kind of gone away from that, I think, the last couple of weeks, but these receivers can't practice half the time.
Yeah.
They're limited almost every single week. So this is going to be kind of a, we can't say this. 2020, this was very much what we saw in the first, half of the season. It was a work in progress. But this is Brady's 3rd year in this offense.
They're regressing.
Yeah. they're regressing because the offensive line is not as good, and he doesn't have, he hasn't had the consistency in the weapons.
Yeah, and let me throw this question out to you. And I know everybody wants to roll their eyes maybe at this, but do you think whatever's going on with his hand, his shoulder, that there's more to it? Because I know he's always going to say, I'm fine. I'm fine. That's always been the Brady MO, right? But they were showing it on the broadcast. I know you saw it too, where he's flexing his hand. He's
you can say that. You can say that because a couple of deep balls were not perfect. But that ball he threw to Evans, literally, he stepped into that throw.
And that's why I'm like, I don't want to sound like I'm being that guy because I see evidence that like there's nothing wrong there. But then I see other times where I'm just like,
I think it's more chemistry than it is physical, to be quite honest. I just think he hasn't had the reps with a lot of these guys. And they're dropping balls too, man. It's not all on Brady. He's missing reads, but they're dropping balls too, a lot.
I mean, you mentioned it. You got to, I mean, like I said, it's just Evans and Godwin who we can depend on. And today we got a good outing from Cade Otton, which nobody was really expecting. I hope we can get more of that going forward. But you mentioned, I mean, Russell Gage was brought here as a $10 million receiver. Yeah. And he's a no-show.
Yeah.
He's a no-show.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and how many times have we seen the tight end do that little stutter route in the end zone and catch that ball right underneath the goalpost on that high throw down the middle? That was Gronk's calling card.
Yeah.
And even Cam Brady's run that play. Haven't seen it at all. Have we seen a tight end run down the middle of the field and stretch the field? Cade caught one today that was kind of a little corner route that was good. But they're not stretching the field down the middle with the tight end. The running game creativity we did see today, a fake jet sweep, pull both the guards and come up the middle. I was like, whoa, hold on now. What happened to the straight handoff off the tackle there was one creative play there today. And I did see one play. It looked like a couple of the screens that they stole from the Chiefs. There was one where Godwin kind of motioned in and then motioned out. And they had three guys on two, and Godwin almost scored right before the Fournette touchdown. So that was a nice little creative wrinkle. But outside of that, it was a boring Byron Leftwich show again. Even on the first play of the game, you want to pass on first down. Okay, great. Go play action. Why are you not going play action on first down? You're not freezing the linebackers at all. Take advantage. If you're going to throw on first down, take advantage and go play action. So there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to the play calling either. So, it's average offense at best. They're average results. And, I think this is what we're going to see the rest of the year. You want to be enthused a little bit by they scored 31 against the Chiefs, but, a lot of that was soft defense. Today you score 21 points early in the third quarter. You're up 21-0, and you never score again against the 26th ranked defense in the NFL.
And that's a season high, by the way, in a normal game, taking away the Chiefs playing soft coverage and the game being decided already. 21 points.
Yeah.
21 points.
That's what this offense looks like. Again,
that's what you
21
are.
points.
That's what you are. That's why that's why we're not gonna come up here and just blow smoke and act like, oh, they'll figure it out in the end. I don't care what happens. Maybe they make me look like a fool. I don't care. I'm analyzing five games.
I think they got the pieces. I think they got the pieces to do it. I really do.
No, I agree with you. I'm just saying I'm not gonna worry about that. We'll get there when we get there. But I'm analyzing this singular game and I'm analyzing these 5 games as a whole. And bottom line is you can't tell me you weren't let down by today's performance. That's just the whole thing. Just stop telling me a win's a win. And I get it. The Packers had a slip up. The Rams have a bunch of I get it. Okay. A win is a win. You don't apologize, but play better. Can I just ask that we have higher standards in these wins? And maybe I'm asking too much. I don't know, but I think they're better than this.
No, I do too. And they better start proving it, or there's just going to be an average year. I mean, do we really want to see Tom Brady go out like this? I know Tom Brady doesn't want to go out like this.
No.
No.
I mean, you got the next two teams you play. What is it? Pittsburgh and Carolina, right?
Yep.
Okay. Rookie quarterback, a team that just gave up 38. You stomp on their neck.
Both of these teams are
both these teams. I don't even think Carolina is going to have a head coach by the time we see them.
They're terrible.
Okay. if we had, and I don't want to jump ahead too far because I know we're going to get into it later in the week, but still, it's like these 3 games were supposed to be okay. Let's get the bad taste out of our mouth of Green Bay, Kansas City. Let's flex our muscles here. Let's find ourselves before we get to the Baltimore game.
Your analogy with the Bills is so good.
Again, I don't want to be too hard on them, but you failed the test today, in my opinion. I don't think your offense really did anything that special.
They should have lost. They should have lost. They should have lost a 21-point lead today. And so, yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to hear from Devin White about the second half performance, and it wasn't good. So we'll hear from him, and we'll finish up on the Bucs. And we're going to get to the Rays. Don't worry, folks. We're going to get to the Rays and that disappointment. If you listen to the show on Thursday and Friday, we called it. We called it.
You called it.
I called it. Well, hey, you didn't need to be Nostradamus to figure this out, people. You just really didn't need to be. So we'll take a quick break and be back on the other side. We're brought to you by Emerging Investigations, emerginginv.com, and the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Back in 3. Stay with us.
JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their proven investigative methods produce crucial information used in criminal cases, insurance fraud, and personal injury claims. Many local attorneys, industry agencies, and your concerned neighbors all count on Emerging Investigations. Just go to their website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228. Get results you can trust in life's biggest matters. Emerging Investigations. Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure flood insurance. If your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com.
Hey guys, Serena Fazan here for the Golden Diamond Source. Are you looking for the hottest trends in men's? Ladies love to see men spice it up with something cool from the Golden Diamond Source. Whether you're looking for a gold chain, fashion rings, even a pre-owned Rolex watch, or thinking about getting engaged, there's only one place to go. Go see my friends, Julie and Steve Weintraub at the Golden Diamond Source for your one-stop jewelry supercenter. It's never been more important to shop local and support the businesses that support our amazing Tampa Bay community. None better than the great folks at the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, or online at goldendiamond.com.
And welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. We thank you guys so much for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube page each and every day, and tell your friends about it. Tell them about us. The best 2-hour Tampa Bay sports-centric show. Each and every day we're bringing it to you live 10 to 12, and you can always listen on Apple and Spotify, and come back and listen on Twitter, on YouTube. Go to our website, fanstreamsports.com, or the jppetersonshow.com. You can listen to it there as well. All right, as we wrap this up with the Buccaneers, the defense once again, pitched a shutout in the first half, and it looked like they were a little bit more together, even though they were giving up some plays. and way too many rushing yards for my taste against a one-dimensional quarterback that I think completed 8 passes the week before.
Yeah.
Threw for 142 today. A couple of made a couple of nice throws in some key situations, but this was mostly a one-dimensional offense, and they ran the ball for 151 yards. What was their per average carry today? Do you have that number handy, Nick?
Yeah, they're 4.9.
Wow, 5 yards a carry. Remember when it was almost impossible to get 70 yards rushing against this defense? Remember those days?
But teams stopped running in total.
Yeah.
They stopped running in total, and Atlanta came in here and said, "No, we're going to run the ball.
Yeah.
We're going to run the ball," and teams are just doing that now.
Yeah. By the way, the Falcons are 5-0 against the spread this year.
I know they're a great betting
They're a great betting odds. Well, it's because they look so mediocre that you just think that they're going to get smashed. But we'll hand it to Arthur Smith. For the roster that he has right now, he's certainly getting the most out of it, no doubt about it. All right, here's Devin White talking about the second half performance of the defense in general.
Let's get it here. And of course, courtesy of Mr. Greg Allman, who was there with Devin White.
I just think we just have to have a come together moment to make sure we finish the game. But, obviously when you beat the team, you kind of, impose your will on them. It can get boring and you can get less aggressive. But we're just trying to stay aggressive. Obviously they're going to make their plays too, but we're just trying to stay aggressive.
Yeah, that was the soundbite from Devin White there. And this soundbite bothered me, and it's bothered a lot of Bucs fans, to be honest, about, we were imposing our will, and it sometimes just gets boring out there, and we take our foot off the pedal, is what he said. And, again, this is why I go back to this mentality. Why is that the mentality? Oh, it's just boring out here. I don't know about you, but I played a little bit of sports. I know it's not to this level. But when I'm imposing my will on somebody, and the few times that happened, I want to keep that feeling going. Okay, I want to keep that feeling going
on their neck. Yeah.
Yes, and that's what. And if you're such a great, I sound like John Gruden here. If you're such a great defense, go out and show you a great defense. You don't lapse like that. I don't want to hear any words out of this defense about we're going to be 0-2. No, you're not. Would the 0-2 defense ever do something like that?
Hell no.
Hell no.
They'd have had three turnovers today. Probably scored off of one of them.
They didn't even get a turnover today.
They made Marcus Mariota look like. And this is the thing: they're a one-dimensional team. They can't throw the ball. They had no Kyle Pitts, no Cordell Patterson.
No, and the fact that Devin White's the one that says it. And again, love Devin White, the guy. I just wish he was a better football player. And we talked about this before the show. Where's this disconnect? This guy is always rated so highly. He's winning awards. He's the top 50 player in the NFL. Bull crap on that one. No, not even close. Okay. And today you mentioned it, just awful. If you want to find the issues in the Bucs run defense and in some aspects their pass defense, it starts with 45.
Yeah,
it does. He's just, I don't get it. It looked like he had kind of figured something out in the Dallas game. And I don't know, maybe he's bought into his own hype. I don't know, but he's reverted back to last year's form. And I'd argue he's even worse.
Well, there were a couple of plays. There was one particular play, and it was Joe Tryon, who I thought had a really good game, by the way, had a sack, a couple of pressures as well. He took that sack that he had, that inside move was just phenomenal. And the sack he had, he faked inside, did a spin move outside. I mean, I think that kid's going to be really, really good, but he's got to get some support. Now, on one particular play, he goes down inside, and Mariota on a third down, I think it was a 3rd down and 9, Mariota escapes out the left side and runs for about 24 yards. And as Tryon is chasing him, he's throwing up his hands like, where's my guy? Where's my outside support? I go inside, somebody's supposed to come to the outside. The only person I could tell that was available to go to the outside was Devin White. And he took a peek, and he thought that Mariota was going up to the right, so he rushed from there, and, of course, he goes out the back door to the left. So I'm not 100% sure that was Devin's fault, but I think it's somebody was supposed to be rushing to the outside, and he was really the only one available to do so. So, and that's typical Devin White. He sees it. He sees an opportunity. Instead of doing his job like he's supposed to do, he freelances and he's out the gate. And again, he's too easy to block, and he has not been a factor in the run game.
He's soft. He's just that's the perfect word for it. He's soft. He's not.
He runs a 4.4, but he's not a guy that's going to take on.
No.
And if you're a linebacker, you can't. At least when I talk to linebacker coaches, it's about you've got to stay in your gap, shed the block, and go get the ball carrier, or you've got to find a way to defeat that guard or tackle that's coming out to get you. You got to beat him to the spot, use your quick. In Devin White's case, he's got to beat him to the spot with his speed, shoot the gap, and make the play, which he did a couple times today. But it's just not as consistent as it needs to be. And I'm not going to, he's not the only one that's playing subpar. I thought, we didn't get a home. Did we get any plays from the safeties today at all? I know Keanu Neal missed the tackle on Williams' touchdown, that 8-yard touchdown. Of course, Devin White was out of the play, but Keanu Neal came up and he missed the tackle. Mike Edwards missed the tackle on the other touchdown. And a couple of times, and there were a couple of calls by Todd Bowles. When you have a quarterback that is not a great thrower of the football, why are you blitzing him and making easy throws? Like on the touchdown throw to Zacchaeus, he blitzes Antoine Winfield off the corner, and there's just this huge gaping hole to throw the ball into that Mariota hits him, and then Mike Edwards misses the tackle. It's an easy touchdown. There was another outside blitz that they gave up a 3rd and 8. That was just an easy out route by Drake London. And it just so many times we just made it easy on Mariota and this Falcons defense. I didn't like a lot of the calls. So again, were they imposing their will on them? I certainly didn't get that feeling in the second half.
No, that to me, that's all that matters. Did you play a complete game? If you really were imposing your will on a team as a defense, you should have gone out there and pitched a shutout.
Unfortunately,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, I'm just looking again. I'm comparing them to other teams around the league. Go out there, and if you have such a bad offense, go out there and go at the opposing team, impose your will the entire full 60. Why is it so hard for you to do that? Why is it so hard for you to do that? I keep going back to Buffalo, but they did that for 4 quarters. I go to New England, faced the number 1 scoring offense, which is crazy, in the Lions, imposed their will on them and shut them out. I saw examples of it around the league. And those defenses aren't nearly as talented as the Bucs defense is.
Right.
Why can't they just get there? And this is just a recurring theme. I just find myself asking why.
Yeah.
It's really all it comes down to. Why are the play calls not better? Why can the offense not use their targets to their full potential? And why can't the defense play a full 60? And why can't they stop the run? I have so many answers right now. And this is why, larger point, big picture, 5 games in, if you have the Bucs in your Super Bowl bubble, get them out of there at the moment.
I was going to mention this. The best tackle of the day was controversial. I know you didn't see this watching the game, but
I heard about it.
Yeah, after Leonard Fournette scores on the run down to the south side, you see this person running on the field to the north side about the 20-yard line. And I'm like, is that a kid? Is that a kid? It looks like a little boy was running on the field. So I'm like, okay, that's funny. Some big fat security guard thinks he's like, who was it last week that knocked the crap out of the fan, the guy with the smoke?
Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, Bobby Wagner. Thinks he's Bobby Wagner. He pummels this little kid, like his 10-year-old kid. He crushed him. And I'm like, what? And the whole stadium was like, oh my God, dude, what did you just do? It's like a little boy running around. And the kid was surrounded too. Like he wasn't going anywhere, wasn't doing anything. And this big fat guy just crushed him.
He imposed his will.
He imposed his will on the little boy. Little boy's fine.
He was like, damn it, Bucs. If you aren't going to do it, I'm going to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
what's the problem?
That was bizarre. So once the little kid said, I'm just going to run. I got to get the whole story, but at this point, very bizarre. All right, we'll take another break. When we come back, we're going to talk some Rays baseball. We are brought to you by BAMMC.com, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. If you're looking to lose weight, testosterone replacement therapy. Did you know that American men are losing 1% of their testosterone each and every year? It's true. It's an epidemic. So go check your T levels, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo, we're going to have him on this week or next week to talk testosterone. So if you have any questions, DM me, and we'll get him to Chris Lugo. And we'll bring him on. He'll answer all those questions for you. Quick break. We'll come back and hand it to the Rays. Not necessarily the players, although they're responsible as well. But upper management, ownership, disgraceful what we witnessed this year. Stay with us.
Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness? Like many clinics use, they will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com.
Swing and a high fly ball. Left field. Way back. Ball game. Gonzalez walks it off. And the Guardians are moving on to the division series. Here in the 15th, the rookie buries one over the high wall. Your final in 15, 1-0 Cleveland.
And that's the way the Rays season ends. Mercifully. Somebody end this freaking season. Somebody end this playoff We've been here for 15 innings, 24 hours, and the Rays can't score. We could be here for another 24 hours, and the Rays ain't going to score. What a horrible performance by your Tampa Bay Rays in this playoff wild card playoff. Losing 1-0 in 15 innings. 15 freaking innings. Well, what? No, 24 innings.
It's right there on the screen. 24 innings.
And you can't score more than one run. Jose Siri with the only run, a home run. I mean, how is that even humanly possible?
You know,
and we thought, and there were people that were like, oh, it's going to flip the switch. So this offense, it's done it before. No, this offense has been putrid most of the year. And in the last month, awful. They lost 7 of their last 8, 9 of their last 11. I don't think they scored more than 3 runs in any of their last, I think, 1 game in their last 15. I mean, I'm just awful offense. And yes, I was surprised Topkin finally wrote about it, actually mentioned it in the story. Since the altercation, what were the numbers? Rosarena was 13 of 58 since the altercation, 1 for 9 in the playoffs with 5 strikeouts. Yandy Diaz, 0 for 10 in the wild card playoffs. 0 for 10. The 2 that were in the altercation, that was just verbal, by the way. Yeah. And by the way, Randy Rosarena is not going anywhere, so I would think that Yandy Diaz may be headed elsewhere, even though everybody says everything's fine. This was a team that completely imploded down the stretch, and their idea that they wanted to play Cleveland when they had a losing record against Cleveland and a winning record against Toronto. So if that was your strategy, tanking for Tito, bad strategy. But again, you can't just turn it off and turn it on when it comes to baseball. And more than that, I'm so tired of the brainwashed Rays faithful. Oh, well, we don't have any money to spend. And, nobody shows up at the game, so we don't have any money to spend. While Stu Sternberg has $500 million tucked away in his a company that he owns solely that he took out of the Rays bank account. Remember when Stu Sternberg said, oh, any profits we make, we're going to put back into the team to stay competitive. Yeah, that was a lie. And just like John Smoltz said on this show a couple of weeks ago, the Rays have figured out the regular season, but they're not going to win in the postseason unless they go out and pay for players, bona fide veteran players who can hit, because they need everything to go right. Everybody, Randy Arozarena has to get hot, like unbelievably hot, to make it to the World Series. That'll never happen again. Everything has to go exactly. They can't have any injuries. They can't have anything go wrong, or this team is just not going to be championship caliber. And until Stu Sternberg starts committing to a payroll that's above $100 million and closer to the league average of $140 million. And by the way, we have so many young players right now. You could go out and pay these guys, whatever. Pick a slugger that's going to be a free agent, or go out and trade for one, because Lord knows free agents are not going to come play in the Trop. They're just not going to do it. And I think I heard a soundbite from one of our Rays fan group. They played the soundbite from the 2018 Ybor Stadium presentation that he never intended to pay for half. That they were going to start playing in 2023, first pitch 2023. Well, guess what? That ain't happening. And look, I think we'll hear more from the stadium now that the season is over. At least I'm going to try to dig into it and see where we're at. But this foolishness is over. And if you missed, by the way, our interview with Sandra Golden from 92.9 The Game up in Atlanta, and she's covered the Braves for 25 years, and she expressly talked about how this new stadium and the Battery has paid for these players. The Charlie Mortons that we couldn't afford, they're paying for, because they built a new stadium, because they moved their stadium from where their fans were not to where their fans are, right? And everybody here in Tampa Bay wants to say, well, there aren't any baseball fans here. No, there's baseball fans here. They're just pissed off. They're pissed off at the ownership. They're pissed off that there's no new stadium, and we're losing fans. We're losing fans because of it. And until we get new ownership, or this ownership group steps up and starts paying for players and getting a new stadium, we're dead in the water. It's not that hard. It's not that hard to do. This is the 11th largest market. Our real estate market is exploding. If you can't figure out how to develop a condos and an entertainment district around a ballpark, you're just not trying. And we know this. Stu is not trying. He wants to maximize his leverage, take it to the last final days till he's waiting for somebody to, quote, step up. One of these cities to step up. What does that mean? Pay for everything? It's not going to happen. That is not the way things work anymore. The Braves paid for half their stadium, basically. The Rangers did the same. This is the new model. Public-private partnerships, develop around the ballpark, make a crap ton of money, and also put the money back into the team and win a World Series. That's what the Braves did. That's what the Rays could do. They're in better position to do it because they have cheaper, better pitching right now than they've ever had. If they could just add a couple of big boppers, this team is in the hunt. This team is in the hunt. But he refuses to do it. And if you think that these mediocre hitting lineups and you can do it with pitching and defense, you're wrong. You're wrong. The modern baseball game, you're not going to get it done.
I don't even really know where to begin because there's so many layers to what we saw over the weekend and really what we saw all season long. And I hate to say it, but there's a portion of this fan base that I'm going to sound like such a bad guy here. And, what the hell with it? Whatever. I try to be a realist. And last week I put on my fan cap on the show because I wanted to see this team win. I told you, as a born and raised citizen of this great city, this is my A team. I want to see this team win so bad, man, so bad. And the performance in these two games, just brutal to watch. And listen, we've been telling you all year long, you have to spend money. You can't put out all these lineups that the Rays had to do. If you're having to put out 159 different lineups in a 162 game season, something's gone terribly wrong.
Right.
And I know there were injuries, so maybe you can point to that. But here's what bothers me. And in Brainwashed, I put that tweet out right after the game because I was really fired up after the game. And it's because there is a fan base here. I don't know what your expectations are. You're just content with getting in. And then when they lose, you go, oh, well, it's such a great accomplishment because we weren't supposed to be here and we didn't spend a lot of money. Listen, I don't know what your expectation is. I don't know. What is it? Mine's to win a World Series. Is yours to win a World Series? Right?
No, it's to play meaningful games in September.
Meaningful games in September. My bad. We did that. Okay. And
Stu Sternberg's calling card.
Everybody's talking about the prospects that the Rays have. The prospects, the number one system. Let me tell you people out there about prospects. You know what the Mariners did at the deadline this year? The Mariners, who haven't made the playoffs in 20-something years. Seattle, right? They traded 3 of their top prospects, I think, for Luis Castillo, who shoved on Friday night. Do you think the Mariners front office was thinking about, oh my gosh, we gave away those prospects? You think they gave a damn about those prospects when Luis Castillo was going 7 shutout against Toronto? Hell no. Hell no, they did not. You think the Padres, who just took down the Mets, are giving a damn that they traded all those prospects for Juan Soto and Josh Bell? Hell no. No, they're not. They're not thinking twice about it because that's what teams that want to win do. This team, we told you the second they made the trade for Austin Meadows and Isak Paredes, and I know Isak Paredes had a better season than Austin Meadows. It was a rough season, whatever. I told you, regardless of how that trade worked out, that was a trade that told me that they were not trying to win a World Series this year. End of story. That was the first one that told me that, and nothing they did changed that throughout the season. I understand that there were injuries, but all I was hearing was their A lineup was coming back and it was going to be enough. They had that lineup together for the last 3 weeks.
Right.
What did they do? What did they do? And the 1, 2, 3, Diaz, Franco, and yes, I'm including Franco in there. Okay. Yep. I ain't letting him slide. Okay. Because he's supposed to be this all generational player. Where was it? Where was it?
Nowhere to be found.
I want to have a conversation because I see all these other young guys. I go back to the Mariners, Julio Rodriguez, and Wander Franco's not on these guys' level. I hate to break it to everybody. He's not. And Randy Arozarena, piss poor performance, absolutely garbage, non-competitive at-bats. Jose Siri, other than the home run, he was an absolute liability at the plate. They're all liabilities at the plate, honestly. These at-bats were shockingly horrible. Some of the worst, no adjustment. Everybody's loading so late. I mean, these guys aren't throwing, at least Bieber and McKenzie, they weren't throwing 96, 97, 98. They were throwing 91 to 94, and y'all are late on everything.
Pitches. So many
You're
hittable
late
pitches.
on everything.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, it's so many hittable pitches. You just watch the at bat, and you're like, okay, that was 95 over the heart of the plate with 2 runners on, and you just missed it. I mean, it's just you gotta hit that ball. You're a major league hitter, and you're an RBI guy, and they throw you a thigh high fastball over the middle of the plate with 2 guys on, and you're fouling it off. You know, and that how many times did we see that?
I'll tell you, every at bat went. They took strike 1.
Yep.
And then they fouled strike 2 back every single time.
Chase strike 3.
It chased strike 3, or they'd work it to a 2-2 count and eventually chase. It always ended up with chasing strike 3. Let's just put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Where are the adjustments? Where are the adjustments?
Yeah.
I couldn't find them. I understand Cleveland didn't have a great time hitting as well because shout out to Shane McClanahan and Tyler Glasnow and the pitching staff. If we would have told you on Friday before the game started, the Rays are going to give up just 3 runs, I think we would be saying, oh, we won the series, right?
Hell yes. Any other team would have won that series. Any other team. Look at Seattle. They were down 8-1. They came back and won 10-9.
Yeah, it fires me up that Tyler Glasnow did everything he could to get back to this moment. Yep. And he gave you what? He gave you excellence the other night.
He was unhittable.
And he was let down.
Yeah.
And he was let down.
This is well, let's play the sound from you got Glasnow or Cash first?
We can do Glasnow first.
Okay.
Let me get him going here.
I want to talk about him too, because this discussion we're having is directly correlated to what should happen in the offseason and what we should see next year if this franchise truly wants to win.
I'm
still very doubtful about that.
I don't.
It's about making money. Let's just be honest. It's his ATM.
The result anybody wanted, of course, but Kevin Cash mentioned you were phenomenal today and that he's just excited for the future for you and going into a normal off season. How did it feel out there today in your 3rd start?
Yeah, good. Consistent. I think through my starts from AAA to the big leagues, I think I was on such a good routine. I felt pretty much like normal, and I've been able to feed off of Kyle and kind of pick his brain and go back and forth with stuff. So I've been able to stay sharp, and today I felt really good.
Are you excited to have a normal off season and go into this off season feeling good?
Not really. No, I mean, like I would obviously want to play more. I think I just got started, and I think being like so mentally fresh and physically fresh, like it's obviously disappointing, but like, I don't know, it is what it is. I'll definitely go in the off season, work hard, do normal stuff, come out to the Trop. I'll be in Tampa. So just trying to stay on like a normal routine, but I'm excited for next year for sure.
Yeah, I guess I meant more looking forward to the future for you guys, like this core group that you have, you and a lot of the guys in this lineup. How excited are you? And Shane McClanahan, who's pointing at me right now because I forgot to name him. Just this group that you guys have, that's got to be a feeling of optimism.
Definitely. I think just having another year of experience, just with all the guys on our team, I still think like being relatively young, it definitely helps to just get more starts and more games under your belt. And I think being here, it's really helpful in the postseason. And we've done it so many times.
Who is he kidding? There is no optimism. There is zero optimism for me because I want to win a World Series. There are a handful of players on this team that, in my opinion, are playoff performers. There's a handful, him being one of them. But there's not enough. There's not a single threat in this lineup. And I know everybody's going to say, well, what about Randy? No, your definition of threat and my definition of threat are different. When Jose Ramirez comes up to the plate, are you scared out of your mind that he's going to do something? Oh, and you're muted right now.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, look what they did. What was game 1 or game 2? Fairbanks went out, and then Adam came in, hits the first batter, and it's bases loaded, and Rodriguez is up, and I think they go 2-0, and then he comes back and strikes him out, and they get a double play, and they get out of it.
Yeah.
And the pitching was just out of this world, and the pitching should be fantastic next year. But here's the payroll right now for the Rays, okay? Kevin Kiermaier is still listed on there at $13 million. Okay, that's going away. Manuel Margot is your highest paid player next year at $7 million. Followed by Tyler Glasnow at $5,350,000. Followed by Brandon Lau at $5,250,000. Brooks Raley at $4,500,000. Wander Franco at $2.454 million. His actual salary, and that's with his bonus in there. His actual salary is $2 million next year. Everybody else is pre-arb or arbitration. Everybody else. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players. So your active payroll right now is about $37 million.
It just shouldn't even be legal. Like
$37 million. Now you can say, "Whoa, we made the playoffs." You made the playoffs because they expanded the playoffs. This is what I said at the beginning of this year. This is an 82 to 85 game winning team. That's all I saw at the beginning of the year. And that's what they turned out to be, 2 and out in the most meek playoffs in history, scoring 1 run in 2 games. Ridiculous.
What does it matter? They've been making the playoffs. It's called growth. It's called growth, people. You were a World Series team in 2020.
Yep. And what did you do? You dismantled your pitching staff.
You dismantled many parts of that team for no reason.
For no reason.
Reason.
Didn't need to.
I hate I know it's in the past, but whatever. But I'm going to keep pressing the point. I should have had Charlie. And again, the pitching wasn't the problem. So how much do I really want to bitch about it? But I still should have Blake Snell on this team. I still should have Charlie Morton on this team.
Damn
but
right.
No, but they're not here. And it's, to me, when people bring up the prospect things, we have to keep these prospects and these hitters. Do you know how many hitters in the Rays starting lineup were Rays prospects?
No, they've traded for most of them.
There was one.
Yeah.
Wander Franco is the only guy in the lineup that was discovered by the Rays, signed by the Rays, and came through the system. Yeah. Don't give me Taylor Walls and don't give me Vidal Brujan, okay? Because they weren't in the starting lineup, and okay, they were the best of an awful bunch on Saturday, surprisingly. But they haven't done squat. The Rays don't develop hitters. So stop telling me that we have to keep all these hitting prospects or anything. You have to go get major league hitting in this. If Eric Neander is serious about it, you need to get major league hitting. And I'm not talking about the David Peraltas. I'm not talking about the Christian Bethencourts. I'm not talking about the Jose Series. I want proven major league hitters in their prime, big boppers. What was that stat again about if you hit home runs, you win the series 86% of the time?
Yep.
I know the Rays got one. Their only run was a home run, shockingly. But there's no home run threats in this lineup.
None.
To win. There's none.
Yeah. And even when Brandon Lau gets in the playoffs, he's nothing.
He's a non-factor in the playoffs.
Look, this is the thing. When I mentioned that payroll, that's a good thing. It's a good thing because you can go out and pay 2 or 3 guys $15 to $20 to $25 million a year
do it.
and still be under $100 million payroll. I mean, come on. And by the way, league average is $145 million. We're the 6th highest paid team, 6th lowest paid team this year at about $80 million on the active payroll. And, again, most of that was Kevin Kiermaier. So look, it's a great accomplishment that the Rays have been able to do what they've been able to do, but they've had money for years now and they haven't spent it. And had they augmented, just like John Smoltz said, had they augmented all of the great young players that they have with going out and signing or trading for big boppers, proven hitting, they would be in the mix for a World Series every year. That's what the Dodgers have done. They have combined the great analytics of Andrew Friedman with an actual payroll, and you can win a lot. You win a lot of games, but the way the Rays do their business, you Rays fans can still be brainwashed and talk about your AAA championships and your prospects and all this. The prospects exist to make Stu money. That's why he holds on to them, because he can bring them up and win games in the regular season and burn out arms as much as they want to, to throw from one angle and one pitch and maximize that and put them on the injured list whenever they are. We'll bring up somebody else and just cycle through them and win games, but in the regular season. But you're not going to win a championship with this.
And that's what I'm saying. Should I even really get worked up about it? Because nothing's going to change.
No, not until they get rid of the owner.
Nothing's going to change. I mean, I'm very upset about it. It's not like I went in thinking the Rays are going to win a World Series. It's just I want to have some hope when I get in there that they can win the World Series. I looked at every other team that went into the playoffs this year, and I mean every single one, maybe excluding Cleveland, because they're going to run into the same issue the Rays have.
Oh, yeah, they're out.
Yeah, they're going to run into the same issue. But every other team, the Houstons of the world, the New Yorks, the Mariners, Toronto, going the NL, Atlanta, and Philly, and all these teams that just have boatloads of money, and they spend, they have impact players. I feel like any team could win the World Series realistically that's left. But the Rays never gave you that feeling. No. And as a fan, does that not suck?
Yeah, it does.
That you had no shot.
And the worst part about it is all you have to do is look at Atlanta, and we could be Atlanta. We could have a new stadium, a battery, an entertainment district, have 400, 350, $400 million in revenue, have $150 million, $175 million payroll. We are not a small market, folks.
No,
we have a small-minded owner.
Get this small market mentality out of you. And the other thing, too, I'm going to call you out. I went to a Glory Days to watch the game on Saturday, and I was pissed off when I walked in at 12:08. I was already getting there, arriving late with friends. Glory Days in Brandon. There's 100 TVs in that place. Not one had the Rays game on. Not one. And then we asked to get the game changed. It took 30 minutes for somebody to figure out what channel it was on to turn it on.
On Friday at noon.
No, this was at Saturday. This was at Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean.
This market has disappointed me this year. There's so many things that have just disappointed me this year with this team. I've never felt more disconnected from everything with this team than I have this year because of everything going on. It's all crumbling into one right now.
Rays fans, the ones that were left, they're tired. They're tired of this owner. They're tired of overpriced tickets. They're tired of bad stadium. They're tired of bad location. They're tired of the owner giving them the finger and telling them this is a crappy market and you can't sustain a major league team. They're tired, and they have other options. So at this point, I don't think anybody – and we're losing interest. We're losing our window. And Major League Baseball, what the hell are you doing? Rob Manfred, do something. Do something.
I mean, him and Stu were talking on the field the other day, so –
yeah, but yeah. And what's Stu saying? Oh, nobody's stepping up. No, you're not stepping up. You and Major League Baseball are not stepping up. So I don't know. If they leave at this point, I almost don't care if they leave. Yeah, I'm tired of it too. I'm tired of talking about Stu. I'm tired of talking about the stadium. I'm tired of it. I really am. We got other things to talk about, like college football, which is what we're going to talk about next. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back, and what a disappointing night for Florida State. Oh my. Another opportunity to win against a ranked team on the road, and you just pissed it away. And some other interesting results from college football as well. Quick break. We're brought to you by BAMMC.com, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. They're having some specials now in their weight loss program, so check them out at BAMMC.com. And also Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES Lawgroup.com. If you've had your car totaled and the insurance company didn't pay as much money as you think they should have paid, you're probably correct, and you probably have a case. So contact Jeeves Law Group. That is in their hitting zone, so to speak, and they will knock it out of the park for you. JEEVES, JeevesLawGroup.com. Quick break. Back with some college football talk. Stay with us.
Was your car totaled in an accident? Did your insurance company use Kelley Blue Book or NADA to appraise the value of your car? Chances are they didn't, and you got shorted maybe thousands of dollars. Call the Jeeves Law Group for a free case evaluation because your insurance company may still owe you money. 727-894-2929. It's a free call, so why not find out if you have a case? Insurance companies have been running this scam for a while, and most folks don't know if they've been shorted. Trust me. Scott Jeeves is a different kind of attorney, the kind insurance companies hate to go up against. He could recover thousands of dollars, so why not call? 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell them JP sent you.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Military veterans, are you struggling with alcoholism or substance abuse? Is it taking a toll on your relationships and your work life? Are you having trouble focusing, constantly anxious? Well, you may not be surprised to know that your fellow military vets have your six. Heroes Mile is a new concept in rehabilitation clinics, veterans helping veterans. At Heroes Mile, we staff our rehab center with fellow veterans who can understand what you're going through. Our mission is to help you heal from issues that only your fellow veterans can truly understand. Located just outside of DeLand, we offer a full range of inpatient and outpatient programs dealing with substance abuse, post-traumatic stress, and military sexual trauma. We choose to serve veterans because we know how complex these issues are. You could choose to fight the battle alone or win the war together. We are the community care provider with the VA and also accept most major insurance. At Heroes Mile Rehabilitation Center, we have your six. Go to heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. That's heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
The Seminole 8-yard line. Travis throws, left side, lofts it, and Boykin's there to pick it off.
And that's how it ends for Florida State. Devin Boykin with the interception there as Travis was trying to get, Jordan Travis was trying to get Michael Pittman in the corner of the end zone to win the game. And I got to be honest with you. I said, don't go for the field goal. Try to put the ball in the end zone. But I thought they could be a little bit more methodical than that. So welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by BAMMC. JeevesLawGroup.com, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, and the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES Lawgroup.com. Florida State blows a 17-3 halftime lead at number 14 NC State, allowing the Wolfpack to dominate them in the second half. FSU was pretty efficient offensively in the first half. Had a couple of drives that actually could have gotten points, but I've said this from the very beginning. I love Mike Norvell as a program builder, as a culture changer. I think from Sunday to Friday, he does a hell of a job, but his game day management leaves a lot to be desired. He even said it after the game. We had, that this loss is 100% on me, and I will not argue with that. Again, a lot of curious decisions, curious play calls. They're driving for, they're down 2. Obviously, a field goal is going to win it. And Jordan Travis threw 2 picks in the final 6 minutes. Had a punter absolutely brain fart. In the fourth quarter, had a chance to run for the first down, and instead kicks the ball over the line of scrimmage. After he passed the line of scrimmage, they then spot the ball at the line of scrimmage, was at the Seminoles 25-yard line. The Wolfpack score again, and it was a missed opportunity, a missed opportunity for Florida State to get a huge win on the road at NC State. They played at times well enough to win. They knocked Devin Leary out of the game, their quarterback. The defense, I thought, played physical at times, but just could not get the job done again. I think they had, 11 penalties in this game after a 9-penalty game the week before against Wake Forest. It really looks like a regression to a lot of the problems we saw under Willie Taggart and in the first couple of years of Mike Norvell. Disappointing. They play without Fabian Lovett, again, up the middle, would certainly hurt them. They play without a couple of key players, but NC State obviously was down some players as well. Great opportunity, but once again, FSU cannot get it done in clutch time.
Yeah, they just straight up imploded. They imploded. Yeah. That was unfortunately, I've seen that story play out in the recent years. I thought we were behind this. I really did. I mean, at halftime, I'm like, man, that was a great moment. Fitzgerald hits that 40-yarder, whatever it was, and they're all Norvell's fired up, and I'm just like, I think we're going to win this damn game. We're going to steal this one in Raleigh.
Yep.
And they come out completely flat. And Jordan Travis going into the third quarter, there was a lot of drops by FSU in this game. This was not Johnny Wilson's finest performance tonight or the other night. It was not. There were other drops in this game. And I said, Jordan Travis looks like he's getting let down by his teammates tonight. He's going to have to go win this himself. And eventually Jordan Travis ends up letting down his team. 2 awful decisions. The one at the end, I'm with you. I'm not playing for the field goal there. There's so many people saying, why wouldn't you pick the field goal? Hell no. I'm not putting that field goal in Fitzgerald's hands.
Hell no.
That's crazy. To me, it's just a play calling again. Why, when Mike Norvell gets down in that area, why does everything get so weird from him?
Yeah, it really does.
It made no sense. Like, just run the ball. You were having kind of some success, or at least use the middle of the field a little bit and just kind of poke your way down there if you're playing for the field goal, if you're trying to. But then to just take a deep shot out of nowhere like that. And Jordan Travis, listen, was the pressure that bad on that play that he had to get it out so early? I mean, Micah Pittman didn't run a great route. First of all, he just the corner ran the route for him. But
Boykin made. I mean, could they have called illegal contact at the top of that route? Did he impede his route? Absolutely, he did. Absolutely, he did it. But he did it with enough savvy that he didn't get the call. And so, I don't blame Travis for making that throw. It's a one-on-one situation with a dominant receiver. I think if he's not held at the top of that route, at least he makes a play on the ball. But, you had more time left. Is that really the play that you wanted to go to? Could you, have checked it down to a more, I don't know. I'm not going to have a huge problem with that. You just got to execute. They had an opportunity there defensively to win the game, and they just didn't do it. And look, I think FSU has improved dramatically, but you got to win games, man. You got to win games, which brings us to USF, which let's give them kudos once again. They go up to Cincinnati. We all thought that they were going to get boat raced, and here they are 4 minutes left in the game with a chance to win the game. And they lose, 28-24 the final against 24th ranked Cincinnati. So, I think it was a positive week for USF. What do you think?
I have no idea how to evaluate this game or this program at the moment. I just don't. I have 3 stinkers to go off of, or whatever it was, 4 stinkers. And I have 2 games against Florida and Cincinnati, the 2 best teams they've played.
Yep.
Where they've played inspired football on the road.
Yep.
What is this team? It's like, and it's almost like dangerous to me, because then everybody gets this false sense of hope of, they can do it. But then they're going to go out the next week against a lower AAC team and probably get the brakes beat off of them again, because that's just what happens with this team. But, I listened to Jeff Scott's presser, and he was almost crying after the game. You could tell it really hurt him. But again, they had that game in reach. And again, it just, when it gets into the later stages, similar to against Florida, you have to be damn near perfect to beat these teams. And USF is far from that. But I don't know. I guess it's better than losing 48-20, whatever it was, to East Carolina. But
yeah. We just like to see them follow up these games with an inspired performance for the entire game and get a win. I really believe, I've said this all year long, I think they're a team that could turn it around this year, and we've seen glimpses of it, but it's got to be way more consistent. And
we did get a better. Gary Bohannon did have his best performance by far, especially on the ground. So again,
it takes. I hate to say this, but it takes time. This is his first year in this system. He's getting used to the receivers. He's getting used to the run game. He's getting used to everything. It just takes time. And I think this was a positive step for USF. And you can't play Cincinnati that tough and Florida that tough and tell me that they're just talentless. They're not. They got talent on this team. And it's Jeff Scott and his staff's job to put this together and get a win. Now, they are good enough to beat, I think, any team on their schedule the rest of the way. They are. But they got to start. You got to win games. You can't be, okay, you played good against these good teams. You got to win games, and they got to get over the hump. They just got to. Somebody's got to step up and make that play and get them over the hump. The Gators beat Missouri 24-17. It was homecoming. It was, it was a Jekyll and Hyde performance. Anthony Richardson, ugly turnovers, and then incredible plays. The whole team kind of followed suit. It was just they're now 4-2 on the season, 1-2 in the SEC. Their first win in the SEC in 7 games. They lost 6 in a row. So this again, a young team playing for a new coach. You're going to get a lot of inconsistency, but this was a step in the right direction for the Gators. I don't know how they're going to finish the rest of the way, but. Missouri, a team that almost beat Georgia. Let's just be honest. And I think you're starting to see, Pearsall, Shorter, some of these receivers step up and make some plays. And
they had nothing to do on Saturday because they went through 14 passes for 66 yards.
Yeah.
I guess I really don't know what to think about Florida's performance in that game. How can Anthony Richardson have 500 yards by himself against Tennessee? And they follow that up with that against Missouri.
It's crazy.
The SEC is so bipolar this year. I don't know how to evaluate. If you asked me to evaluate that entire conference, I couldn't. They're all over the place. So Florida's no different there.
All right. So we'll take one more break. And when we come back, we're going to just hit a couple of the other stories. The Lightning played on Saturday. The good news is Vladdy is back with a hat trick. How about that? So I was there on Saturday. We'll tell you a little bit about the Lightning. There's another big story that has developed with them that is not as cheery. So we'll talk about that and wrap up the show. Quick break. Back in 3. Stay with us.
Serena Fazan here for the Gold and Diamond Source. Are you looking for the hottest trends in men's jewelry? Ladies love to see men spice it up with something cool from the Gold and Diamond Source. Whether you're looking for a gold chain, fashion rings, even a pre-owned Rolex watch, or thinking about getting engaged, there's only one place to go. Go see my friends, Julie and Steve Weintraub at the Gold and Diamond Source for your one-stop jewelry supercenter. It's never been more important to shop local and support the businesses that support our amazing Tampa Bay community. None better than the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, or online at goldendiamond.com.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show as we're wrapping things up here on this Victory Monday. The Bucs get a win, but it was less than impressive. Also over the weekend, the Lightning got a win this preseason, finally. The stinking Panthers were in the house on Saturday. I was there. We were doing a little run through for all our Lightning Vision stuff, but we got a lot of new toys, by the way, a lot of new fun stuff for the fans this year. So even better production, even better game production. We don't rest on our laurels. We're getting better each and every year. So, and the game was pretty good too. Vlad Domestikov with a hat trick. Power play looked good against Florida. Everything looked good. And Braden Point back to skating the way you like to see him skate. Kucherov with a power play goal. Good stuff for the Lightning as they're going to open up against home openers on the 18th against the Flyers. And they open up with the Penguins, I believe, on Tuesday night.
Rangers.
That's right, Rangers. And then the Penguins next weekend before the Bucs game. So it's going to be a lot of fans going up to Pittsburgh to see the Lightning and the Bucs play. Hopefully we'll come back with a couple of victories there. But there is some bad news. And this came out of freaking nowhere. Ian Cole, who they acquired in the offseason, defenseman, has been suspended by the Lightning pending an investigation into sexual abuse allegations. He has denied these allegations. They were posted anonymously on Twitter. There are allegations that he had a sexual relationship with a minor. Again, he has denied all these allegations and believes that once the NHL completes their investigation, he will be exonerated. The details are not good. They're very concerning. But again, I think it's best and most prudent to let the investigation play out before anybody comments. And of course, the Lightning will. Ian Cole will remain suspended, and he was going to be a significant part of their blue line, but we're going to have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, I read the whole allegations, and it's very thorough and very involved and very detailed, disturbing to really read over it and process it. So, best move by the Lightning, of course. I found it interesting. I don't know if this surprises me or not from the NHL, but the NHL does not have a domestic violence policy. So all of this is handled on a case-by-case basis by Gary Bettman. Mm-hmm. And I guess I kind of find that interesting. I mean, I guess we really don't have many examples of this in the NHL that they didn't need to have a policy, but it's just kind of.
Well, listen, policy or not, the Bucs, the NFL has a policy. Doesn't work very well.
True.
The NBA has a policy, doesn't work very well. So, just get to the bottom of it and, do a thorough investigation. I hope that, this is not a situation where, there's such unknowns here. I really don't want to comment on it. We'll just let the investigation play out, and we'll see what happens with the Lightning. All right, that'll do it for today's show, our Victory Monday. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We will, it's sometimes not fun to talk about these losses and where some of these programs are headed, but I think this is a turning point for the Buccaneers. They got to find out who they are and what they are, and if they want to be a championship team. It doesn't look like it right now, but there's a lot of season left, and we'll see what the Rays do in the offseason. And excited for this new Lightning season. I think these guys are jacked up and ready to go. They got a talented team, a lot of good newcomers. Going to be fun to watch. All right, we will be back on Tuesday, back in studio and to our regular haunts, and we'll have Scott Reynolds on, TJ Reeves, and a couple other surprises for you. So we will see you then. Have a great night, everybody.